Hello guys. So I'm going to start this session. This session is all about how to handle the database project in Visual Studio, how to do the incremental deployment from it using Azure. So guys, I have just opened the Visual Studio. There you can see I have created one project. It is a database project in SSDT uh, called trial database. So in database you can see uh, you will having three table. Just for the sample, as of now I have just created three script for the table. You can add for stored procedure, you can add for the views, and you can add for anything. So how you should create this project? You can just go to file, you can just a minute, sorry, you can go to file, new project. You can just go to SQL Server and you can just select the SQL database project. Okay, so for this template, you should have the SSDT installed in your Visual Studio. So I have done this already and created few tables. Now you need to check the property of it, and you can see there are all those settings are there. Whichever applicable you can just basically select it. What should be the output folder? What should be the target platform? L- Okay, so target platform, I would suggest like you should go to your SQL Server first. Just check the version using this command, select @ version, and you can find that your SQL Server points to 2017. So you should sync this SQL Server version with your Visual Studio database project as this one, SQL Server 2017. Just Control F, and you can just build the project. So it's building. It generally takes time, like once you build it, it will create a DACPAC file for you. What is DACPAC file? So DACPAC file contains it is a kind of a form in which it creates a SQL script for all your objects present in your DB. So you can just go to the your folder path and you can check, I mean, where it is actually creating the DACPAC file for you. You can just go to bin. Okay. Sorry, there is so yes, see, that is SQL Server DACPAC file. Okay, so that's done. So the next process is to check in this code to Git. Why we are checking it to Git? From Git we can just connect to Azure, and Azure can pick your changes, and we will create a build pipeline for it. So I have already checked into Git. So for your reference, I can just show you. So here I'm in Git in repo. I can just check. See, these are my this is my database project. I have already done, I mean, all those changes, but I will going to show you, I mean, what I have done to deploy this database project using Azure, and the final output you will see in this DB. Sure. So next, move to the build pipelines. So what is build pipeline? Build pipeline will take your project and just build it and create a DACPAC file for the release. For release, you required that DACPAC file. So this is the trial database DACPAC, which this is the pipeline which I have created. I will just edit it to show what all settings I have uh, chosen, I mean, while building this pipeline. It's loading. So see, there is one that is the build solution task, that basically build my solution and create a DACPAC. That is a copy file to build artifact staging directory. It means once my solution is built, it will copy my DACPAC and will paste it to the artifact staging directly, so that it will be picked from there for the deployment. Next is like the same, like the drop folder in is just the path where it has to be a dropped. So you can see display name, source folder is fine, content is fine, all those, I mean, component present in bin you have to pick for the release. You can just add an extra filter to pick only the DACPAC file. Uh, so we come to this public task, so that all looks fine. So for Azure require an agent to run your process. So this is the agent. So once it is done, you can just queue this task and click run. So for my case, it is already built. Okay. And now, so for this, I mean, like your Azure needs to communicate with your SQL server that is present on your local machine, that is an on-premises database. So how your Azure will going to connect with your SQL, that is done by the Azure client. So for Azure client, you need to create the deployment groups. It basically groups your task which you want to deploy. So for this I have created an deployment group called a work. Okay, so for your reference, I will just show you, I mean, how you need to create a new one. Like you can give a test name, you can do this, any description you can just create. Okay, this is already exist, let me just change the name. So see, once you have created this deployment group, so it created a PowerShell script. What you need to do, you need to copy this PowerShell script, you need to open your Windows PowerShell and you need to execute this command. What this will do, it will install this agent on your local machine. This agent will communicate as a client and server between your Azure and your SQL database. Okay, so now move to the release part. So in release, you can see I will just show you the last, I mean the release I have used, that my build to release this pipeline. So what I have created in this release, you have to choose the artifact which you want to deploy. So for my case, the source was trial database build. You can always mark the latest, but here I know, I mean that this version I need to deploy it. So I have chosen this version. You can go back, you can just go to this task. So here you need to add one task, I mean, which is the deploy using a DACPAC. So what it asks basically, it says how you want to deploy your database. So we are choosing the using SQL DACPAC. You can choose an query file, you can choose an inline. Okay. So now is the deck pick. So you need to give the path of your deck pick. So once you click on that, it will go back to the build pipeline which you have created. There, once your pipeline is created, it will drop your artifact into the drop folder. You need to just choose the path of your deck pack. If like for you need to give the server name, you need to give the database name. Okay, let's put it trial. Okay, it's not put. Let's put the trial database as name, and you can choose the Windows authentication. Here the agent will do all those authentication work here, and you can just save the changes, and you can just click on the create release to deploy this database onto our on-premises SQL server. If it is not there, it will create a new one. Otherwise, it will create the incremental changes. You can also, I mean, in your Visual Studio project, there is an option to, if you mark it, it will only deploy the incremental changes. Okay, so I have created the release. Let's check the status here. So it says in progress. Let's wait for some time. So So you can see the build, the release has been success. You can check the time, system time, and this one, this is already successful. So as the release is successful, I'll just take back to you when I just added that release pipeline, just show you some settings. I forget to show you that the deployment group, like you needed to choose the deployment group which you have created there as work, and you can tag any tag here like home. I mean, like you can tag as database, you can tag at the web server. So what is the use of deployment group? You can categorize your deployment, like all database can deploy first, all web servers can deploy second time. So you can just, I mean, give the order. I mean, these tags are very useful to categorize your deployment. Now we can just go to the SQL server. We can just refresh the server and we can check if so you can see the trial database is there and there was some objects, so they are present there. So that's all. So what we have done, we have created a Visual Studio project, and after that we have checked in our code to Git. From Git we have created a build pipeline which whose output was a DACPAC file, and after that we create a release pipeline. What release pipeline do? It picks the DACPAC file, and there is a tool internally that is SQLPACKAGE.EXE, which helps to deploy DACPAC onto your server. And thereafter we in this process we have used the deployment group. Using the deployment group we have copied the PowerShell and deploy onto our local machine, so that it communicates with the Azure and we at the same time your SQL server. So that's the guys. The session is complete. Thanks.